We are embarking on free senior high school education. It's one of the flagship of this government. And some people feel that's the key to laying the foundation for the type of economic development that you had. What's your view about the kind of education required and the quality required? And if you have any specific ideas about how to make something like universal senior education effective?
So that's a very good question. And I think too many countries have made the mistake of merely extending years of education without thinking hard enough about the content of the education and the actual skills that young people have with them when they finally leave school. What's critical is to meet the needs of a market economy. And for both developing countries and most advanced countries, for instance for Singapore, what's critical is to have skills that are in demand in the marketplace. And that means that technical and vocational education has to be a very significant component of education in the latter years of education and in the tertiary system. It's fundamental in the most modern of economies. You need technical and vocational skills, whichever field you're in.
Minister of Finance, the issue of senior high school education and the cost has come up repeatedly. And a lot of people feel we are using all our resources in that area when there's demand for infrastructure. Have you been able to explain to the population how this investment in education will feed into the other economic benefits they are looking at, seeing as it's such an expensive endeavor for this government?
I think it's, let's try illiteracy and see which is more expensive for us. But I think the issue of the human capital development, it's really at the core of it, because in the end, Singapore is not talking about natural resources, it's talking about its human capital to be able to move from, I don't know, maybe what, $4,000 per capita to close to $100,000 now. So we need to be very clear on that. And the social justice, actually, of a citizen having access and being nationalistic and patriotic, I don't think you can put sort of a limiting value to it. The past practice in which we as a government have been responsible for all infrastructure, I don't think it's sustainable. So our challenge at the Ministry of Finance now is to find partners for infrastructure development so that we don't compromise the issue of human capital, which leads to not only the knowledge we need to build ourselves, but the national cohesion and narrative of a united country.
Before